Good morning, Mr. Long.
Morning, Carmen. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Have you started counting the bodies yet? If something happens soon, I'm going to shoot something.
Yeah, I'm struggling a little bit for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But probably one of my favorite.
I'm pretty
posters.
much over the.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm pretty much over the whole no work thing.
No doubt. No doubt.
What were you saying about the poster?
Just couldn't mix it. When I was young, my favorite poster growing up was three buzzards in a tree on a limb, and they're just sitting there waiting for something to die. And one buzzard finally says, "The heck with waiting for something to die. I'm so hungry. I'm gonna go kill something." So, just one of those things, you know.
Yeah, we'll be all right. We'll get through it.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. I can guarantee we will. There you go, Mr. Mock, out there in beautiful Kelowna.
That's good, man. It's going to be almost 20 degrees here today.
Okay, so it looks like you got a haircut. Who did it?
Angie did it. Do you see my video on my Facebook?
No, I didn't get a chance to yet.
You can watch it later. It's kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, we borrowed some clippers from my neighbor, and she did it. It's something. better than it was.
Listen, I did mine myself, and I came downstairs. My wife said, "What did you do?" I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Look around the back," and I had a big clump of hair in the back I missed.
Yeah, that's the problem, though. Yeah, you can't see the back, right? Like, even if you can do the sides, that's all good, but the back is like, you can't do it, right? So somebody else has to do it. So she's like, "Let me get the top, let me get the top." And I'm like, "No, man, you're not. We only have kitchen shears. I'm not going to cut my hair with the same thing you cut chicken with." Like,
listen,
Mike.
the government's going. You may get a few more haircuts before this is finished. So,
Hey, Mike. Good morning. Hey, you're gonna have to probably get really closer to your mic.
I have to get closer to my mic?
Yeah, because it's really echoey.
Oh, sorry. You know what?
that's a lot better.
Do you hear it now?
No, you gotta get closer.
Mic is like literally in
I know, it's like
Roll.
echoey. But
Mr. Keynes?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, brother. How you doing?
Doing super awesome.
Awesome. That's exciting. Very, very exciting.
I don't think Derek was waiting for what I had to say to that, Michael.
Not really even sure. There's a lot of distortion coming in.
Does it still sound bad?
Come on now, stop it.
No?
April?
In and out a little bit.
Is that?
When I put everybody on mute, we'll test it in about 1 minute when we get ready to start.
Okay, if it's too bad, then I'll just go on my cell phone and I'll go somewhere else. My office is echoey, I don't know why.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be good. Just something else. Like I said, when you were closed, it was fine. So I'm sure that'll work off. Good morning, Miss Lisa.
Good morning.
How are we?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm just awesome. Thank you very much for asking. Lots and lots of fun. I got a nice announcement for everybody, by the way. Today, officially, Sue Jenna is disqualified from the contest. I mean, either she has a photographic memory or somebody's slipping her the ad. So, but she's also not allowed to help anybody. We've had that conversation, haven't we, Sue?
Sorry, Mike and Michelle.
Or, how about every wrong answer, you have to do a shot of tequila?
She'll love that game.
Help me.
She'll give the wrong answers on purpose. And we got 30. Okay, there. So now we're going to get this thing rock and rolling. So I'm going to start off by muting everybody. And we got that happening. We got a big crowd today. I'm going to unmute Mr. Mock. Okay, Mike, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. That's awesome. I want to thank everybody for getting on this morning. We have Mr. Mike Mock with well over 20 years of sales experience. He doesn't look that old, but he's getting up there a little bit.
I am.
So we got a great call today. We got a lot of really, really great questions. I want to thank everybody for sending the questions in. That's absolutely awesome. We're going to have some fun. And I think so far, everybody's just been amazed and really enjoying our calls. In fact, I'm actually getting calls from other people in GHS asking if I can forward on some of our interviews. So the words are getting out, boys and girls. So everything's happening. We're rocking, we're rolling. and we're getting really anxious to get this thing over with. So, Mike, are you ready, big boy?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start off with a real nice and easy one. How old were you when you started in direct sales?
I was 16. I started in 1994. It was my summer job in between grade 11 and grade 12. So 20, holy smokes, that's a long time.
Okay.
26.
And, April wants to know, what city did you start in?
I started in Regina.
Okay,
The
we got
city
that one out there. How were you recruited?
I was recruited out of a media hire ad out of the newspaper. It said, somebody had this ad the other day that they were hired out of. It said, need help in our setup and display department. And then, of course, you go to the office and you're like, set up and display. I thought I was going to be setting up mannequins downtown in the Eaton's building, like how Eaton's used to have the storefront windows or whatever. I'm like, okay, I can do that. I didn't have a car, so I was like, you know, I can take the bus. I could go downtown. I could do that. But it was not that.
Okay, it is recording. Just wanted to make sure I just checked that, and yes, it is. Okay, that's awesome. Do you remember your training?
I remember my training like it was yesterday. Yeah, absolutely.
Who trained you?
Simon Landsman was his name.
Okay, I remember.
I don't know if you know who that is, but
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
definitely do.
Yeah.
Very, very good training.
yeah.
So what got you into OmniShield?
You got me into OmniShield, actually. So it was a process, as you remember. It took quite some time. When you're a long time in direct sales, I'm sure anybody that's been a long time in direct sales knows that you get shown a lot of things, you know, like pitched a lot of products or whatever the case is. And for a while there, I got pitched a lot of products. Anyways, so you sent me a message. You said, you know what, Mike, I got the next big thing. I can't remember the exact wording, but basically like, I got the next big thing. Trust me, this is the one. And of course I'd heard that a few times or whatever, obviously. So, and then you told me what it was. And I think Tom Mackey was like that too. I was like, fire alarms, eh? So I said to Angie, I was like, how, because I'm all about profit. I'm a big profit guy. So I'm like, how is the profit there on smoke detectors? So anyways, long story short, Carmen was nice enough to fly out to Kelowna, which is the other side of the country for him, which is a major investment, you know, to come out here for nothing because he didn't know if I was going to join or not. And then he showed it to me, and Angie was really, really, really all over this product. This really hit her. And I've got a brand new house, and it's got loads of alarm, like, you know, it's the newer style house, so it's got them all in the bedrooms and all that kind of stuff, obviously, right? So, and just like everybody else, we just assumed that we were protected, and we weren't protected. And I thought, holy smokes, you know, that presentation, that video, 10 years in the making, like that hits people, right? Like that hit me, that hit her, and it was like, you know, just that burst of emotion that you get in that. I was like, that is amazing. So over the next couple months, it just became of how are we going to do this? You know, like when you're with a company for 25 or 24 years or whatever, and then you switch to another company, that is a major, major, major mental shift, obviously, right? So, you know, but we did it, and here we are.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sue would like to know, what have you found easiest about the OmniShield?
I have found two things easy. Number one, I think that selling this product is the easiest product I've ever seen in my entire lifetime. And I don't mean that, I don't mean that braggartly. I'm saying like, it is ungodly easy to get people excited about fire safety. And the second thing that I found that is extremely easy is recruiting people just by telling them about the business. Like, I mean, if you're selling vacuums and you're like, what do you do? Well, we used to we used to go to the bar when, when we were younger, and the girls would be like, what do you do for a living? We say, well, I'm an airflow technician. You know, you'd never say I'm a vacuum cleaner salesman, right? Obviously, but you know, with this, now I'm not young and I don't go to the bar anymore, but if I did, I would just say, I'm in the fire safety industry. They'd be like, oh, fire safety, you know? So recruiting people just or telling people about your business outwardly is just extremely easy. You can have that confidence, you can have that emotion and all that kind of stuff, and they really, really, really get it fast. So I'd say selling the product's probably the easiest product I've ever seen in my entire lifetime, and just getting people excited about it or recruiting people into the business or whatever you want to call it, as a general rule, is extremely easy.
Super. Sue would also like to know, what do you think is the hardest thing that you've experienced so far?
Conversely, because it's so easy, when you're in a business for a very long time, a lot of times you have a tendency, when things are easy, to not do it enough. So people are like, okay, well, what's your closing average for the last such and such? And you say, well, you know, I'm closing 80% this month, right? Well, the natural answer is, why don't you do more presentations? You know, obviously, duh, right? Make more money, do more presentations. So I think that that's a personal battle that I fight with, and I think that other people fight with too as well. When things are that easy, you know, I feel like I've been training for the NBA my whole lifetime, and I'm playing basketball in my front lawn. You know, like that's how, you know, and and I'm sure Tom is like that. I'm sure April's like that. I'm sure, you know, Bruce Glenn is definitely like that. You know, like, but I think that's the thing that I find the hardest about it is just wrangling myself in to make sure that the work always gets done to the efficiency it should get done. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely perfect. Perfect answer. What are your strengths?
My strengths, I would say, determination. I just don't give up. You know, no matter how much money I make, I will keep going. I grow through my goals. You know, as opposed to setting goals and you stop. You know, I know people that have had the same goals they had 5 years ago. Like, it's just, I want to make $3,000 this week, and that's what they've been doing for 10 years, man. But it's the ability to grow through the goal and understand that as you get to that goal, then is the new set, then is the new set, then is the new set. That's just something that I learned like 5 years ago. You know, I made the same amount of money for like 10 or 15 years. And it wasn't until I learned, you know, to grow through those goals onto bigger and better things that I learned how to make more and more money and protect more and more people and all that kind of stuff. And my second strength, I would say, another thing that I learned 5 or 6 years ago was that I'm incredibly empathetic. It made me a better salesperson. I'm empathetic to the customer. When I go into the customer's house, I see them as a friend, or I see them as my sister, or I see them as my brother or cousin or dad or uncle, and I speak to them that way. And when I'm dealing with reps and I'm dealing with dealers and I'm dealing with all that kind of stuff, it's really the empathy that helps you get them to grow too as well, because they can see that it's coming from a good place. So those are the two things that I think that I have strengths at that maybe I didn't have a strength at 10 years ago that kind of I grew into.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. And she would also like to know, what are the weaknesses that you are working on?
The weaknesses I'm working on. Carmen will attest to this. I'm a little bit of a hothead. So if I hear something that I don't like and I read it too fast, I'm very quick to respond to it, and I really shouldn't do that. And I'm really working on that. That's one thing that I'm working on, and Carmen will give that a check mark, I'm sure. Patience.
Bruce would like to know, what's the one thing you would like everyone to know about you?
The one thing that I would like everybody to know about me? Oh, wow, that's a difficult question. I don't know.
Stump you?
What's that?
I told you we would stump you.
Yeah, Jesus. I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. I have no idea. Yeah, you stumped me, man. I don't know.
If you think of something, we'll come back to it later on.
Yeah, I'm pretty out there, so I think most people know about me. But
you were on the road for quite a period of time in your career. What was your best month in personal sales? Now that, again, everybody on the call here, that means protections, not units.
My best month, I think, was my best week was just a few years ago. Just 2 years ago, actually. It was 10, and then my best 37.
Fantastic. Awesome numbers. Awesome numbers.
Sorry, 43. 43.
Okay. What motivates Mike Mock?
What motivates me? The standard answer is always your family and your kids and all that kind of stuff. But what motivates me to get up in the morning and do this business and do direct sales is, number one, I absolutely love direct sales. And the reason why I love direct sales is because I don't think that there's a better business in the world for producing money as fast as this business and as easy as this business. It doesn't exist. The second reason is because I like to see people develop. I like to see people hit their goals, and it's not to hit their goals. So let's say Taylor said, I want to sell 37 protections this month, and she gets that goal. That's great. We're high-fiving. Awesome. She made a bunch of money. But what excites me is the growth that she had to get that goal, because she had to develop a set of skills, a set of determination, all these different attributes to get that goal that she will take for the rest of her life. You know, that to me is very, very exciting. You know, I talk to reps that used to work for me, or you get somebody that works for you over the summertime and they start with you in May and they leave in September. They are a different person in September than they were in May. Like, they have changed so much. You know, that excites me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What are some of your goals for 2020?
Area director is my number one goal. My number two goal is just to grow as many people as I can into better all-around people, better all-around reps, better all-around dealers, better all-around all that kind of stuff. But area director, obviously.
Sweet. What part of the demo do you like the most and why?
I think that every part of the demonstration has its own components and its own reasons and all that kind of stuff. I like the front talk because I think that if you can develop a good relationship with the people, and if you can develop a friendly relationship and a good back and forth, that you can say the things that you need to say in the presentation. Because when you're selling fire safety, there's things that we need to say that are hard things. You know, we need to say hard things, you know, and real shockers sometimes, right? And for them to take that in an earnest way, or take that in a way that they should take that, we got to develop that relationship. I like the alarm kill because it's the first opportunity where they can be like, oh, damn, like I really have a problem here. Like, you know, and of course the walkthrough allows you the opportunity to ask the questions that you need to ask during the presentation to get you to the sale. So I like them all, but I like them all for different reasons.
Fantastic. Now you're married to Angela. How many children do you have together?
I have 3.
And their names and their ages?
Chase and Carson are twin 11-year-old girls, and then Sydney's an 8-year-old boy.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Okay. What are you doing right now with your family to keep yourself from going crazy at this time?
Nothing. We're just going crazy. It's just, I'm used to being on the road at least a week of the month, so I'm literally going stir crazy. I built a garden bed, and then I built a hockey rink in my garage with boards and all that kind of stuff. And I put a theater in my garage, and like just whatever, man. Taking stuff around the house, and trying to recreate it into something else. Like, I don't know. And then of course my kids have schooling every day inside the house, which drives me insane because I'm a coaching person and I can't understand why they can't get it. So it drives me nuts. But anyways, that's what we're doing.
Absolutely awesome. Okay, here's back to the business a little bit. Which is harder, getting the lead or getting the protection?
I think getting the lead is pretty easy because there's limitless leads and there's so many different ways, obviously, to go about getting them. I think getting the lead is easier. You know, it's just a simple question of asking. If I said, hey, you know, if I said it in the right fashion, hey, you know, is there somebody you know that'd like to have one of these free emergency kits? That's pretty darn easy. But if I said, hey, can I have $7,000? That might be a little bit harder. There's probably some build up to that, right? So I would say getting the protection is harder than getting the lead. The lead should be pretty easy.
Awesome, awesome. Now, you're absolutely right what you said before, being in direct sales, and if you've had any type of success, you're always being approached by companies. In fact, sometimes even when you're doing a demonstration in a home, it could be somebody who has a sales company or working with a company. So you've obviously worked in other direct sales companies, and you've obviously been approached by a lot of direct sale companies. In comparison with other direct sale companies, how does GHS stack up?
Well, I wouldn't be here if they weren't the best. And let me explain what I like about GHS compared to other companies. Number one, everybody's seen that saying, the worst thing that you could ever say in business is that's the way we've always done it. And this is the way that 99% of direct sales companies are run. They're usually run by people that have been in the business for 30 or 40 years. There's no way that you're telling them any different. GHS is nimble. Even though the people have been around here for a long time, they're extremely nimble. Do they shift the boat instantly? No, they don't shift the boat instantly. They make sure that the structure's in place, the implementation's in place, everything's in place, but they will allow for new ideas. And I'll give you an example. And this impressed me about David Carter the other day. So Brandon Seacrest does the Facebook thing about marketing and all that kind of stuff. And David's response was, I'm going to make it my mission over this quarantine period, I can't remember the wording, to learn all about this marketing. Now, we'll use Filter Queen because I was in Filter Queen. In Filter Queen, if you'd have put that idea forward, it would have said, yeah, we'll look into it. But what we'll look into it means is you don't have a bloody clue what you're talking about. You know, you don't have any input. So what they allow is they allow for the infrastructure to be there, but at the same time for the dealers themselves who are on the ground floor to have some input in what happens. You know, I think that's amazing. I think that's absolutely amazing. I think the back office is amazing. I think the support is amazing. I think the fact that they give you the speeches and they give you the guides and they give you all that kind of stuff is absolutely incredible. And they run it all through their legal, so it's all great and all that kind of stuff. Whereas a lot of direct sales companies, they don't give you anything because most of what they do is so kinky that they don't want anybody knowing about it, and they don't want liability for it. GHS is so much on the up and up, it's absolutely mind-boggling.
That's awesome.
And that's what I like about GHS.
True. 100% true. What is your favorite business or motivational book?
It's my favorite book right here. Can you see it? Oh, there you go.
How
Successful People Grow.
Grow.
Yeah. The reason why is because, I mean, for me, so when I'm looking at books and I'm reading books and I'm reading audio books, what I use books for is I use them as mentors, right? So whatever I need in the moment is what I will read or what I will do. So, you know, later on, I think there's a question about if you ever get down or whatever the case is. So if I need motivation, if I need somebody to kick my butt, I listen to Grant Cardone. And it's not because, and I don't listen to the sales stuff of Grant Cardone. I listen to the fact that he says, dude, like, just go out and do it, man. Like, why are you whining, right? I read John Maxwell because John Maxwell is all about growing through goals, and it's about changing your mindset. It's about not stopping at 5,000, going to 10, then going to 15, then going to 20, then buying a boat, then buying an apartment to rent out, and then all this kind of stuff, right? So whatever I need in the moment is what I search out. So if you ever feel like you're lacking something in any particular way, just search it out, man. I mean, there is a billion books out there that would be more than happy to tell you the answers.
Absolutely. In all your years of direct sales, what do you think is the most important lesson that you have learned?
2 lessons. Number 1, don't let your highs get too high and don't let your lows get too low. And what I mean by that, and salespeople can attribute to this, when it's very important to celebrate sales. It's very important to celebrate victories, but you can go way overboard and your internal emotions can just go to the roof. And then if you have a bad day or, you know, a cancellation or whatever the case, and then your emotions go boom, they go the other way. So if you want longevity in a direct sales industry, you have to understand that you have to find a level that's right in the middle. Do I get excited when I sell? Of course I do. It's adrenaline, right? Do I get mad when I don't sell or if I get a cancellation or something like that? Absolutely. But I don't go to the bottom and I don't go to the top. I stay right floating in the middle. So sometimes people will be really successful. They're like, Mike, hey, I did this. And I'm like, right on. Let's do better. You know, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And they're like, why aren't you as excited as I am? Yes, I'm very excited, but I do understand that, you know, there has to be a leveling ground. The second thing that I learned, and then I learned this about 8 years ago, and it's when I really started making money, was I learned to just think bigger. Like I wish, and there probably is going to be a question about this later, but the number one thing that if I have a regret in my entire lifetime, it's that I didn't think big enough fast enough. Forever, I made the same amount of money, or I did the same thing, or I had that little goal. It wasn't until I just started thinking a little bit bigger that, you know, so I moved to Kelowna so I could be around people that do make a lot of money, so I could be in that environment that I just thought that was commonplace. So psychologically, I needed to do it, right? And so on and so forth. So just thinking bigger, I think it was a big mistake of mine, and it's something that I've learned over the time.
Fantastic. That's awesome. So what do you feel a new dealer should really concentrate on in their first 60 days to have the highest level of success?
Okay, I wrote some notes on this. I said to Angie, I said, I hope they don't say what's one thing, because I'm not a one thing person. So anyways, the number one thing that I think that a dealer should focus on, well, not number one. Some of the things that I think dealers should focus on are, you know, me and Brett talked about this a lot at the beginning, was creating a system. When you've got a system in your organization, and really when you come from another dealer, you should just be able to pluck that system and put it into your own office, obviously, right? Like it should just be plug and play. So you don't have that anxiety of trying to rework the system or whatever, obviously, right? So the common answers are build your inventory, build your cash flow, all that kind of stuff. But the uncommon answer is how much inventory and how much cash flow. I believe that a dealer should have a minimum of 200 units in their office immediately, like as fast as they can get to it. And they should have $50,000 in the bank account as fast as they can get to it. Don't be anxious your first week because you don't have $50,000. I'm not saying you have to come in with $50,000. But if you just say, we need more inventory, we need more cash, that doesn't really tell you what you need. You need a certain amount. The second thing is you need to determine how you're going to get to that, right? So for every unit that you sell, let's say you pick the number, I don't know what your bills are. So let's say you pick the number of 1.2, 1.4. For every unit that you sell, you buy 1.4. You know, to get to the 200, right? You have to have that structured system in there. And the reason why is because it gives you a little bit of automation. The third thing is scheduling. I see so many new business owners, not just in direct sales, not just in GHS, but just in general, they have such a problem in the beginning because they get a little bit of too much freedom, right? So, you take real estate agents, for instance. I think 95% of real estate agents, they don't sell anything, and they're basically non-existent. And the reason why is because they can't handle not having a schedule. They can't handle somebody not kicking their butt. So you need to say to yourself, listen, okay, Mike, you want to make how much money a month? And I said, well, I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, Mike, if somebody was working for you on a salary and they wanted to make $10,000 a month, what would you expect of them? And that's what you need to do. What would their schedule look like? What would they do in that schedule? And they would have it scheduled every day. Like if you were paying somebody $10,000 a month, believe me, there would be a schedule, obviously, right? And then something that Chris Putnam touched on. I don't think that a dealer can ever really stop selling. And I think that if you set it up at the beginning that you go out and sell a minimum of one a week, there's no such thing as a dealer that fails that sells one a week. It doesn't exist. It's impossible. You cannot fail. It's impossible, right? So Chris Putnam touched on that too as well. So it's something that I've always done. Even when I was doing good, and I know Brett does this, and I know Chris Stratos is awesome for this. Continue to go out and do it because number one, you're leading from the front. Number two, you're on the ground floor so you understand the changes. And number three, you'll always have money. You'll never go to business. You always have cash flow coming in. Always. Even if the times are bad, you've always got that cash flow coming in. Number four, get an accountability coach. And I think April talks about this, and that's awesome. Somebody who will kick your butt. You need somebody to kick your butt. Whether they're your dealer or they're Carmen or they're somebody else in somebody else's organization, and it's okay with your dealer, get that accountability coach to the next day they can say, what'd you accomplish yesterday? What'd you do yesterday? What'd you do yesterday? What else do I got here? I think that's it. Those are just a few.
Those are some great points, and all the new dealers. We have 8 new dealers, 8 organic new dealers going out in the next 90 days. I think that's awesome advice that you just gave out. That's great. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
How competitive are you?
I'm super competitive. I'm more competitive with myself than I am with others. Like, I believe that your number one competition you should always be trying to improve, right? I mean, we scale ourselves by what others do, right? But at the same time, I'm really competitive with myself.
Fantastic.
Really competitive.
What is your favorite sports team and why?
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Why?
I like Mario Lemieux. I like a feel-good story. It's like, he was the greatest. I like the greatest always, but he was the greatest, and then he got Hodgkins, and then he came back, and he was the greatest still. Like, that's just incredible, right? So, and then, of course, you get one team in your life, and then you just carry it forward.
Fantastic. So, for new dealers, how many safety advisors should a new dealer have go with them when they first open?
I like a right-hand man. I like a right-hand man, and then I like 2 other maybe newbies or people that you can work with or whatever.
Okay.
But I think the right-hand man or woman, pardon me, I shouldn't say man, excuse me. The right-hand person, I think, is of utmost importance.
Fantastic, and I agree with you 100%. You do very well door knocking. What is your approach at the door?
It's almost comical. So I think that if you're going to door knock, the best way to door knock is to have 2 people. This is not the comical part, but the best way to door knock is to have 2 people. One person does the door knocking, the other person does the presentations. And the reason why is because you're going to come across a heap of negativity. And if you hear no 15 times in a row, and then you go into a presentation, that's really hard to shake that off, right? So if you have somebody that does door knocking for you, that's going to be all the better. I think that when you door knock, you can go about it one of 2 ways. You can go about it either the way that Chris Putnam does, where you're very friendly and having conversations, and a knowledgeable person can do that. Like if you have a good knowledge of a lot of things, like if the guy's got a boat in the driveway, you know about boats and all that kind of stuff, you can do that. If you're not as knowledgeable, maybe you're a little bit younger, I think the less you say, the better. So, when me and Blaine Gordon went out door knock like 10 years ago or whatever, he door knocked for me. He went and knocked on the door, and the best thing that worked, we do lots of farms, is he just say, hey, we're around doing the farm special, can I help you? Or excuse me, we're around doing the farm special, can we show you? Now, the instant response you're going to get is, what is it, right? Obviously. So in this business, I think it's a little bit different. When you're doing door knocking, just like when you're booking a call or getting into a presentation, it's the gift that gets you in. So the better you are at selling that gift and the benefits of that gift, the more likely you are going to get into the house. The second thing about getting into a door is that you have to understand, just like a distributor, or a dealer, every DNS has an intrinsic value on it. every time you do a presentation as a sales rep, that has a value too, right? So let's say it's $35. You literally get paid $35 for that. There's no reason why you cannot tell that person, guys, I get paid $35 just to show you. That's it. You know, you get an $80 gift, I get $35 to show you, and you're gonna get a lifetime information in a very short time. If you don't like what I'm showing you, give me the boot. You know, selling that gift, I think, is extremely important. So that's what I do a lot of, is selling the gift. And this gift is amazing. Like, this gift is unbelievable, easy to sell.
Absolutely agree with you there. That's awesome. Here's a good question. How do you stop yourself from prejudging?
You don't. I think you always prejudge. You know, here's what I got really, really good at, and maybe I'm a little bit anal about this, but first of all, you'll always prejudge. If you're around for 24 years, man, you're prejudging. You'll walk up to a Pink house and you'll be like, oh, Pink, huh? I remember that one person in 1998. You know, you'll just prejudge this. So what I got in the habit of doing was preparation. I prepare for presentations like anally. So if I know I have a demo tomorrow and I know the address, I'll literally drive by the house and look at what they got in the yard and prepare my conversation for it. I know that's a little bit overboard, obviously, but anyways, instead of the prejudging, if you could just prepare some thoughts, it makes you a little bit more comfortable. So this is what I'm going to say. So you sit in your car. This is what I'm going to say before when I go to the door. This is what they're likely to say. This is what I'm going to rebuke. This is what I'm going to do when I walk in the house. This is how I'm going to set it up. And it really just gives you a sense of comfort. Again, it's just automation, right? If you can automate everything you do, you feel really, really comfortable about what you do. You're more likely to not think about all that stuff that's going on in the background.
Absolutely awesome. Great, great. So doing the demo, what are some of your favorite tie downs?
Tie downs. So when I'm doing a presentation or I'm teaching people how to do a presentation, what I do during the presentation is I have a piece of paper, and when I'm going throughout the presentation, so I'm showing you, I'm showing you, I say, listen, Carmen, the information that I'm going to show you is extremely important. It's extremely important to you, and it could be the difference between you guys making it out of the house of fire or not. Because of that, I don't want to miss anything, and nor do I want you to miss anything. So as I ask you some questions, I'm just going to write down a few of the answers, if that's okay with you, Carmen, just so I can give this to you at the end, then you guys remember this going forward. So every time I ask a tie-down question, whether it be, do you feel comfortable, you know, after what I've shown you today here, Carmen, do you feel more comfortable using what you're currently using, or would you feel more comfortable using an OmniShield system? Or do you feel it more likely that in the event of an emergency, your system is going to get you across the street to Mary's house, or do you think ours is, or whatever these tie downs are? And we write all this, and then I write all this information down on a sheet, and we use it later in the closing. But anyways, I don't have any particular tie down that I like the best. I like them all, and I jot them down as we go along. So all the hot buttons, all the tie downs, we jot them down as we go along, so we can use it later on in the presentation as a closing tool.
Great idea. Great idea. Okay. So there's a lot of safety advisors on the call here today. What are some of the things safety advisors can do to increase their closing average?
Okay, I wrote a couple things down here too as well. Number one, obviously nobody's going to do your push-ups for you. You got to do the presentations. Okay. So I think, and I firmly believe that, you know, people say practice makes perfect. I don't believe that. I think perfect practice makes perfect. So I think that when you do presentations, that they have to be evaluated. And whether you're evaluating it yourself or somebody else is evaluating it for you, and then you're implementing new things into your presentation, I think that while you're going through the course of all these presentations, if you're not growing that presentation into something that's special, I think that you're just going to continue to do the same stuff over and over again. So I think, as hokey as it sounds, at the end, and I do this, you know, after 25 years, at the end of every presentation, if it's a DNS or if it's a sale, I take a notepad out and I evaluate myself. And I say, okay, where did I lose it? Where did I do good? What did I forget to ask? What should I have done next time? And all that kind of stuff. And I have a list. So lo and behold, on the next presentation, I do it again, you know, and hope to improve each and every time. So I would definitely do that. Number two, I'm huge on mentors, because just because you're new doesn't mean somebody hasn't done it before you. Many people have done it before you. They're doing it phenomenally well. So I'm all about tapping people for information, and you should keep a journal. You should have a little book, and it's your growth journal, right? So let's say, you know, Mike Wynn is phenomenal at this. We want to talk to Mike Wynn. You know, check it, make sure it's okay with your dealer. But, you know, Sean Hesse is phenomenal at this. We need to talk to Sean Hesse. You know, and if you don't have those questions written down from your reflection, you're not going to know what to ask. So that's why it's important to do that, obviously, right? You know, the quality of the questions that you ask determines the quality of your life. So write that stuff down and then get a series of mentors to answer those questions for you and just try to fill in those gaps as much as you can for yourself. What else? I think that's pretty much it. If I was a new dealer starting out today, if I could tell myself to do it over again, that's what I would do.
Fantastic. That's really good stuff. Really good stuff. Is there any particular objection that you get from a customer that gives you butterflies inside and gets you excited because you just know you got the right answer for it?
You know what? I don't think there's any particular objection that I like. I mean, I just assume that if you did a good job at the end, through the presentation, at the end, the close is really just a means to make the customer feel comfortable about the purchase. You know what I mean? I don't have one that really jumps out at me as per se. I mean, obviously, if it's money and that's the real objection, that's pretty simple. I mean, you know, that's a pretty simple, you know, when, you know, I feel like, you know, we can't afford it or something like that, then you're just dealing with money. But if it's I have to think about it, I kind of like the I have to think about it ones, because keep in mind, we've got this paper, you know, we've got all the reasons why they should buy it, obviously, right? So I use the Benjamin Franklin, I don't know if you guys know Benjamin Franklin close almost exclusively. So the first thing that I do when I close everybody is I fire the objection back at them. So if you say to me, Carmen, you say to me, okay, Mike, you know what, dude, I gotta think about this matter. And I say, and I pick it up and I look at it. And I say, you've gotta think about it. And then I just shut up. Because sometimes if they hear the objection back to themselves, they think, wow, that was pretty stupid. That's pretty stupid what I just said, right? Because I think that objections a lot of times, if you've done your job, are just really knee-jerk reactions, right? Like I do the same thing in Best Buy. If I'm looking at something, I'm like, I literally went there to buy that. And I'm like, oh, damn, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. You know, if somebody could just make me feel comfortable about that, right? So that's why we use these. That's why we use these notes, and then after that we flip to the Benjamin Franklin close, which I use almost for everything. And I say, listen, you know what, Carmen, I can completely appreciate that you need to think about it. I'm a thinker too as well. I absolutely agree with you. Keep in mind, Carmen, I was in your same boat 2 years ago. Me and my wife were sitting in the chair. Somebody showed it to me. We said the exact same things to ourselves. But I'll tell you what, as far as for thinking about it goes, I don't think that you would ever ask your plumber to change your electrical. And I don't think you'd ask your landscaper to do any of this. So fortunately for you, I'm as close to an expert on this as you're gonna humanly get. And what I learned to do to deal with this situation was I learned to write down on a piece of paper, and I just put 2 columns. I learned to write down on a piece of paper, and a lot of smart guys do this. And we're gonna put all your positives on one side, and you've already got them. So we're gonna write down every reason you should, and then we're gonna write down every reason you shouldn't. And logic would tell us whatever's the greater list is probably what you should do. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, I agree with that. So I write down all the positives. You know, Nancy's sister was in a fire, like all the stuff that you wrote down. And on the other side, I hand it to him. I say, now, Carmen, tell me why your family shouldn't have this. And I shut up. And you know what, again, that's just because if you've developed that relationship, right, you'd be able to ask these hard questions. And I would do that to my sister. I would say, why do you think you should have it? Why do you think you shouldn't? I would ask my sister that. So of course I'm going to ask them that. And I find that most times that right there, that's it. It's done. How can you negate that, right? That's if you've done the right job throughout the presentation. Absolutely. So I don't have a favorite. I don't have a favorite one. I use that for everyone.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's really good stuff. What is your favorite inspirational movie?
Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. When my girls were 1 year old, I was a single dad, like my wife left like that or whatever. So I was like, I needed that movie to get me through, and it's always been my favorite movie.
Okay. What are your favorite contests?
I like scratch contests, like a month-long contest where you get printed off like lottery tickets or whatever, and then every time a person reaches, I like contests where everybody can win. I just love that because I think it's more fair. I hate contests where the top guy always wins everything. This is what I like about GHS's strip contest, because literally everybody can win. But anyways, so it's a month-long contest, and every week if they hit a certain target, they get scratch tickets, right? And you scratch it off. They maybe win, they maybe don't, or whatever. But you can stretch that contest out for 3 months or 2 months or whatever, right? But everybody's excited on Monday morning to get their scratch ticket, right? And whether they want a $5 Tim Hortons card or they want a PlayStation, man, they won, baby. And that's a good contest.
Awesome, awesome. Do you have a particularly memorable demo or customer?
You know, I'll just use one from when I first, and this is the reason why I got into this business. When I went to my first customer in West Kelowna here, he was a pre-existing customer, so I was there on a service call or whatever. So anyways, I went there and I wasn't there for this. I didn't even have inventory or book or anything like that. And I was just chit-chatting, and I look up and his alarm's hung open and there's no freaking battery in it, right? And I'm like, dude, you have no fire protection, right? And then I got into a conversation about it, and I don't think I had the videos. I had the website with the pictures or whatever, and that was it. And then I sold them a $7,000, I protected them with a $7,000 package or whatever. And I'm like, damn, I wonder if they're all like that. So what was better about that was I protected them, and then I didn't have inventory, obviously. I didn't have inventory or a demo kit for my first resale. So I go back to install it, and there's a lunch on the table, man. Like, I'm like sandwiches and salads and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, huh, that's weird. Because most times in Filter Queen, they won't give you a freaking glass of water. So for my first 2 presentations, there was lunch on the table when I'm installing. I'm like, yeah, this is the business for me. Anyway, that's the most memorable.
Okay, so it's been a long time. You were 16 when you started. So what was your first 30 days in direct sales like?
I had a blast. I loved it. I think that when I was 16 years old, and it was like 5 or 6 guys that were my age, and we went out to Humboldt, Saskatchewan, and we didn't party, like we didn't drink or whatever, but it was just fun. Like, it was so fun, and it was so exciting, and it was so new and all that kind of stuff. And it was awesome. I think I sold one that week. I took a Miracle Made on trade, and I gave away the farm. I literally made nothing. And but I was just so excited because I closed it by myself, and that's really where I got the bug. You know, it's that that adrenaline that you get when you've overpowered what should have been there, right? Like, you created, you're taking this person who didn't know you from a hole in the ground, and you're creating this protection, and you're like, wow, from thin air, I just made this all happen. And that's why I love direct sales. Fantastic. So that was my first third, and then you know, and then I got a little bit better, and a little bit better, a little bit better. So I went a long time without selling. I think it was at the end of the week or something like that. I think it was 14 gems or something, and then I ended up giving it away. My first week I made $50, but I didn't care about the $50. It was a rush. Like, it was so awesome, right?
That is great. That is great. Okay, do you ever lose confidence or need a pick-me-up?
100%, yeah, absolutely. So I think that everybody goes, I think, you know, direct sales businesses are built in 90-day stages. So you go 90 days. It's hard to be uber motivated after 90 days. So you go 90-day runs and you go as hard as you can. And sometimes you'll level or whatever. So what I do is every morning when I wake up for an hour, I find YouTube videos, you know, Grant Cardone or Gary Vee or whomever, and I watch. Andrew thinks I'm funny for doing this. Sometimes I'll like lay in the bathtub and have my phone beside me. She'll be like, "What are you doing, man?" I'll be like, "That's my hour of motivation, right?" So I'll just listen to something for an hour before I start my day, and then my brain is programmed properly. I can get into my day. Happens all the time, and I mean, after 25 years, it happens, right? Like.
Okay, great. Here's a good question. What are some of the things that Angela does that motivates you? Or
so, you know, here's what I really knew that I loved Angie. We were about, I won't tell the backstory, but anyways, there was some crap going down about 4 years ago. One of my marketers stole from the company, blah, 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 blah. So I had to fix all this stuff. And I had to come up with all this money to fix all this stuff. So anyway, so I'm in the kitchen here, like 20 paces away from me. I'm like, I'm just complaining. I'm bitching. She's like, well, what is the point of standing in front of me and telling me about this? Why don't you just go out and fix it? Like, what is standing in the kitchen gonna do? You know, and that's how she is. Don't tell me your problems when you know damn well you can go fix the problem. Go spend your time fixing the problem. You know, or go, you know, you want to buy this? Go make the money. That's her answers, right? It's just very nonchalant like that, right? Like, she's a business person and she knows that why make excuses? Just get it done, man. That's why Grant Cardone and her just keep me going.
Great advice from her. Man, we should be making her a director. Good stuff.
Yes.
You're a GHS Rolex watch winner. How did it make you feel when you found out you won the Rolex watch?
Oh, buddy,
Earned the Rolex.
I was stoked, man. I was so stoked. I was messaging everybody because, you know, in a lot of companies, a lot of companies make a lot of the prizes unattainable. You know what I'm saying? Just to say that they give it away. This is like when I came to GHS, I'm like, wow, man, like literally everybody can win everything here. Like this is unbelievable, right? I don't want to use the term easy. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. But I was like, wow, I've never seen that. Like, I mean, you don't literally have to be the upper top echelon. You should be the upper echelon, but everybody can win. And I was just so stoked. I'd never had an opportunity to win something like that in my lifetime. And it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. I was excited. I definitely messaged everybody in Red for it.
Fantastic. Now, you've been to a lot of conventions. How was last year's convention in Dallas compare?
I have been to a lot of conventions. I think everybody says this, and I think this is really a common thing here about GHS conventions. I very much enjoy that it's a family-oriented convention because, you know, I've been to those conventions where it was just a bunch of 20-year-olds partying and getting drunk all night and staying up and missing the meetings and all that kind of stuff. And to me, I think that really just gets away from the point of a convention. I think the point of a convention is a meeting of the minds, you know, and it's your opportunity to talk to people around the world that do exactly what you do at the highest of levels and take your notes and your reflections and fill in the gaps, man. You know, and that's exactly what the convention was about. It was just, you know, like who didn't laugh at Tim Humphrey like that? That dude was so funny, man. But like, my God, man, like I couldn't make that up if I wanted to, but just everybody's take on the exact same thing, you know, or different things said, you know, and, you know, it was just absolutely awesome. Sometimes you have to hear something 10 different ways before that one way resonates with you, right? And I think that I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that I could take my wife and not have to worry that some crap's going to go down in the background, you know, or so-and-so is going to be with so-and-so, and oh my God, they're going to be fighting about this now. And like, it was all just peaceful. It was calm. It was nice. It was structured. It was educational. It was just really, really awesome.
Wow.
Well done. And it was free. Like, I mean, it's free. You've never seen that in your lifetime because it doesn't exist. You know, everybody charges $150 a ticket or $135 a ticket. Like, I mean, it's literally free. And I mean, as insignificant as you think that 130 is, imagine all the people that they paid for, right? Like, that's a huge amount of investment, you know? So awesome company.
Listen, that's great. Well, Mike, I want to thank you very much for being on this morning. You've been absolutely a breath of fresh air, a lot of great ideas. I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of really good stuff. So we're going to finish this off and give you the opportunity. Do you have anything you'd like to finish off today and say to the International Lifesavers on the team?
Yeah, I do. Go figure, eh? Anyways, I gave this a lot of thought because, you know, we had this time off or whatever, and whether it be 4 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that, I thought, you know, God, that sucks. You know, all these people, you know, losing all this money and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, you know what? It actually is a real testament to this industry and this business because, excuse me, we're the only ones that have a chance to get the money back. If you think about that, I mean, in a lot of companies, people are out of work. They will never see that money back in their lifetimes. But we can strategically plan out over the next couple of weeks or week to come back, and over the next 8 weeks after that, get our money back. Do a little bit extra this, do a little bit extra that, learn a little bit of this, learn a little bit of that. We'll get our money back. Nobody else will get their money back. It's gone forever, right? Like, how awesome is that? That is an amazing part of this industry, that we determine whether or not, you know, what we make and all that kind of stuff. So for the people, you know, I saw a lot of posts on Facebook, and it's like, it's definitely 9 to 5 are saying this. They're like, oh, don't let all these people tell you that you need to be bettering yourself during this. Just chill. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime, right? You know, maybe that's good for them, but for us, get better at something, because when you come back, you'll get that money back if you do. You take your first 8 weeks back, you can split up what you lost, and boom, you'll definitely have it back just by doing a little bit more, 25% more each week or whatever the case is, right? So I think that that's a really good testament to our business, and I think that it's something that we should be excited about in this bad time. You know, if you can find something, that is it, man. Like that is it. That should excite everybody. You're going to get it back anyway, so don't worry about it.
Fantastic. Great advice, great advice. Mike, I want to thank you. You did an absolutely awesome job today. It was great, great call. I want to thank everybody who took the time to be here. Tomorrow's call is going to have Gary Robinson, the Vice President of International Sales. Gary Robinson, with over 50 years experience, is going to be on the call. So it's going to be a great call tomorrow. Please get those questions in. Today's contest, and by the way, Sue Jenna is now officially out of the contest running, so she knows that. So everybody knows because she just, like I said, I think someone's feeding her the answers. But today's contest is for the book that Brandon Stout recommended, which was Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. It's a great, great, great book, and it's really, really good stuff in there. Real 3 simple questions today. Real 3 simple questions. Number 1, what 2 YouTube videos did Tom Naku recommend? What 2 YouTube videos did Tom Naku recommend? Number 2, where does Brandon Van C want to open her dealership? Where did Brandon Van C want to open her dealership? And number 3, what did Darren Glenn say was his attribute for success? What did Darren Glenn say was his attribute for success? Thank you, everybody, for an awesome day. Thank you, Mike. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Carter.
Let's keep rocking and rolling, and we'll keep it together. Thanks,
Okay,
guys,
thanks.
girls.